In our last session, we explored the profound idea that many thoughts aren't generated solely by your individual brain. You're often tuning into collective thought fields. Shared mental patterns, fears, beliefs, and cultural preoccupations sweep through populations, and individual minds pick them up, mistaking them for personal, original thinking. We looked at evidence from collective consciousness research, like the Global Consciousness Project's random number generator anomalies during major global events, suggesting consciousness is interconnected rather than isolated. You were invited to notice how many thoughts concern distant or media-driven topics not rooted in your direct experience, label them as collective field pattern, not mine, and return to heart-centered breathing and spacious awareness. The goal was to observe any reduction in emotional pull or compulsion to engage. You were asked to bring back what you noticed about disidentifying from these shared streams. Now, let's make this extremely practical. We'll look at exactly how your lived reality begins to respond differently once you stop identifying with thoughts. This goes beyond inner peace or spiritual insight. It's about seeing tangible shifts in what actually shows up in your day-to-day experience. Reality is not a rigid, fixed, objective structure. It's a responsive field. Quantum physics has demonstrated that the act of observation influences outcomes even at the subatomic level, the observer effect. Far fewer people realize this principle scales up. It operates continuously in your ordinary life, shaping what you perceive, attract, and experience. When you identify with a thought, taking it as true, as you, as reality, you observe the world through that thought's filter. For example, if you believe and identify with relationships are difficult, your attention selectively notices evidence of struggle, conflict, or disappointment. You unconsciously gravitate toward or interpret interactions in ways that reinforce the belief. Neutral moments get colored as problematic. The responsive field organizes people, events, and outcomes to match the lens you're using, because that's what you're energetically and attentionally broadcasting. But when you stop identifying with the thought, everything changes. The thought, relationships are difficult, may still arise from personal history or collective fields, but you see it clearly as just a thought, not truth, not insight, not your operating assumption. You no longer observe reality through that distorted filter. The thought can float in awareness without being believed, without charging your nervous system, without becoming your broadcast frequency. From this non-identified space, you're observing reality more directly, closer to how it actually is, without the overlay of habitual mental filters. What emerges is that reality is far more fluid, cooperative, and possibility-rich than your old thought patterns ever allowed you to see. Here's a concrete, everyday example many people relate to. The long-held belief, money is hard to make, money is scarce, making money requires constant struggle. When identified with this thought, you notice and remember every instance of financial effort, setback, or limitation. Opportunities that require ease or flow get filtered out or dismissed. You interpret neutral events, a delayed payment, a minor expense, as proof of struggle. Your energy and actions align with effort and scarcity, reinforcing the pattern through the responsive field. Now imagine the shift when identification drops. The thought, money is hard to make, arises again. You recognize it instantly. Thinking, old pattern, possibly inherited, possibly collective, not ultimate truth. You don't argue with it, replace it, or fight it. You simply don't claim it as yours or as reality. In that moment of non-identification, the filter lifts. You become available to notice aspects of reality that were always present but previously invisible. Synchronicities or unexpected openings that once seemed coincidental now stand out. Ideas or actions that feel naturally aligned and effortless appear obvious. People or resources show up in ways that feel supportive rather than adversarial. This isn't because you're forcing positive thinking or repeating money flows easily. You're not swapping one belief for another. You're stepping out of identification altogether, resting in awareness that holds no fixed story about how money, relationships, health, or anything else must be. From that unfiltered space, the responsive field reflects back more of what's actually possible rather than what's been mentally predetermined. This shift often feels gradual at first. Small synchronicities, subtle ease, moments of unexpected flow, then compounds as non-identification becomes more habitual. For your practice until next session, Choose one core recurring belief/thought pattern that has shaped a specific area of your life. Money, relationships, health, self-worth, work, whatever feels most alive for you right now. Whenever it arises, or a variation of it, 1. Pause and take 3 slow, heart-centered breaths. 2. Label it gently. Thinking, brief description, e.g. money is hard pattern, old filter, not truth. 3. Rest attention for a few moments in the spacious awareness beneath the thought. Feel the simple aliveness or openness that was already there. 4. Then, as best you can, go about your day without needing to fix the thought or prove anything. Just notice what shows up differently in that area over the coming days, even tiny things. A new idea, a kinder interaction, a moment of unexpected ease, or simply less emotional contraction around the topic. No pressure to see dramatic change, just honest, curious observation. Jot down a few notes about what you notice or don't notice and bring them to our next session. We'll look together at how the responsive field is already beginning to reflect your shift in observation.